Good morning, kids. Miss Cricket and I have missed you so much for all these months, so we thought we would do a little fun Sunday school lesson online for you. Hope you enjoy it, and looking so much forward to seeing you all soon. So the story I'm going to read today, I'm going to ask you a question. So have any of you ever swam in a lake or in a pool? Maybe you would have, maybe when you're just starting to learn how to swim, maybe you had floaties on you or a life jacket. So the story I'm going to read to you this morning is about one of Jesus' disciples, and his name was Peter. And we're going to see what happens when the lifesaver that he had on, being that it would actually be not an actual lifesaver like we think about wearing one, but the lifesaver of Jesus. And how when he didn't have that lifesaver on, what started to happen, he started to sink. So listen to today's story. It's called Walking on Water. After he had fed 5,000 people, Jesus had told his disciples to go across the lake. And Jesus really needed some time by himself, because he just was, a lot of people kept coming to visit him, which was a real good thing, but he never really had time to sit and to pray. So he told the disciples to row their boat out to the other side of the lake, and he would meet up with them a little bit later. And from the mountain that he was on praying, Jesus could see what was going on the water below. And it was starting to get more darker. The winds, he could see there was a storm coming up, so the winds picked up and the waves picked up. I don't know if you've ever been out on a lake or anything when there's a storm like that, but it can be a real scary thing. My wife, when she was growing up, her family had a boat, so they knew well about how to protect themselves if there was water, high winds or a storm coming in. So in the middle of the night, after seeing what was happening, Jesus came down to this seashore, and he began walking towards his friends. But he was actually walking right on top of the water, just as if he was walking on dry ground underneath him. And through it was so dark, and the disciples were trying to figure out, what is this coming our way? They were so scared by the wind and the waves that they now they don't know who this is coming towards them, or even what it was. But it looked to them like it might have been a ghost. And actually, there's no such thing as ghosts, but they didn't know how to explain the weird things that they were seeing. But all of a sudden, they heard a very familiar voice from across the water. And that voice says, "Do not be afraid. It is me." And you know what? Right at that very moment, they knew who it was. They knew it was Jesus. So Peter, one of Jesus' disciples, he called out to him and he said, "Lord, if it's really you, let me come to you on the water." "All right, Peter," Jesus answered, "come." So Peter climbed over to the side of the boat, and he tried a few steps, and wow, sure enough, the water was the firm foundation that he was walking on, just exactly like Jesus was. His eyes were right on Jesus, and he kept walking and kept looking right at Jesus. But when all of a sudden, when he started noticing some of the things that were around him, the wind and the waves, he got very, very scared, and he took his eyes off of Jesus, and he started to sink. He started to drown. He said, Master, please save me." So Jesus took out his arm, he stretched out his hand, and he caught Peter, and he pulled him up, and he helped him to get back his feet back in the boat. Then he said, "Peter, you don't believe in me the way that you should. Why'd you get afraid when you knew that I was right here with you?" And Peter had no answer to tell him, so he hung his head in shame. So once Peter and Jesus reached the boat, the stormy wind stopped. And suddenly, just as suddenly as it all had actually started, everyone there realized that the power of this man, they realized what power Jesus had. This was probably one of the first few times that they actually saw all the power that Jesus had. And you know what they said? Truly, you are the Son of God. So I want you to think about something from this lesson. And in a few weeks, schools are going to be starting, and all kinds of things are going to be changing. And maybe with that, you might be find yourself being scared about things, or maybe you're going to see a different group of people than what you saw before, and maybe you're watching some of the things that they're doing. What I want you to take away from this story today is, remember how Peter, when he was actually focused on Jesus, when he believed in the things that we teach you in Sunday school, to take care of our neighbors, to do well by others, to really believe that God will protect us. When he stopped doing that, everything started to collapse. So he started to drown, and everything around him got bad. And that's what I want you to think about. Don't think about the scary things around you, and don't think Jesus is going to be there to protect you. And just have that faith that you've got a good Christian bringing up from this church, and just remember how much Jesus loves you, that he's always going to be there for you every single day, even if your day is going bad. Just time to sit down and say, Lord, I really need you right now. I'm scared about this, or I'm scared about that. You're still keeping your focus on Jesus. So thank you so much. It was so good to be with you this morning. I can't wait to see you all again safely, and only a few more weeks. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Cricket now. She's going to show us a really awesome edible craft that we can do, and your moms and dads perhaps can get the supplies needed to so that you and your brothers and sisters, or just you and your family can do this. So.
Good morning, gang. Wonderful to see you. Can't wait for September when I get to see you all here. Now, things you will need: graham crackers, Teddy Grahams if you have them. If you don't have Teddy Grahams, you can use animal crackers. That comes to the pretending part. Mm-hmm. And I brought in, which you'll need, blue frosting. You can either buy blue frosting or just take some white and add color to it. This is supposed to be the water. Now, we all know water's not really blue, but for today, it's going to be blue. Because if you've ever drank a bottle of water, it's not blue. It's clear. So, what you're going to do, you're going to pretend now, this is what Jesus walked on the water. Okay? And we're going to put some good old water on here. Now, I could make this nice and smooth like this, but that's not how the water was. When Jesus walked on it, there were waves and everything. So that was where Jesus walked on the water. Now I looked through the Teddy Grahams, and I liked this one here to stand on the end, and hey, stand up. That's Jesus walking across the water. Now, way over here on the other side of the water, we need a boat that held the disciples. So, we're going to lay down a couple of Teddy Grahams, and look. Ha! We have a boat. How do you like that? Now that I'm going to put it back together that it decided to break on me, there you go. Okay. The other one we need, anybody remember the name? Name? Good job. His name was Peter. This is Peter. He's on the boat. And the bear I picked, I love this. His hands are up in the air. And I thought he was perfect because it's just him. And you can have him walk across the water. And all of a sudden, at one point, he starts to sink. And that's when he doesn't believe. And when he starts believing again, he's back on top of the water and he meets Jesus. And the waters then calm down. I'm not calming down the waters right now. I'm going to keep them rough like this. I probably could. See this one? We could. Hey, Peter, stand up. Look, smooth water if we wanted it to. And there you have your boat, Jesus walking out on top of the water, and Peter meeting Jesus by walking on the water. Now you get to eat it as much as you want. I miss you all. I can't wait to see you in September. And maybe we'll do this again in September when you get back, just so we have something extra to eat. Have a good rest of your summer and enjoy school. I'll see you in the fall. Bye.